Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel here. This is Von Wayno from Dead Sled Customs. We got here the 41 Lincoln Zephyr. I wanted to show you guys a couple things that I have been doing to her and giving you guys a couple updates and go from there. So I think the best thing to do is to show you first, then take you off the stand here after the explanation's done, things like that, and we'll do a little close-up. So I got a latch here on the front of the door, pretty much the same thing with the 53 Buick here. Press it down and then you're able to, sit down in the car. We're gonna put a new seat in here. I didn't like the seats, didn't really match the car too well. So we got the two hinges, the original hinges from the doors, but it's from that side. So pretty much what I did was I flipped them, and from the passenger side I put the driver's side to the passenger side on the hinge side. So that whole area there on the door I kept intact, and I welded onto the other door and then did the same vice versa. Then I put the doors in place after I cut out my pockets to accept where the hinges are going to rest now instead of how they were previous. And then I put my bear claw latch in, and it shuts and locks and operates. I want to adjust it a little bit more because we got a little bit too much of a space back here. So all I got to do is take the hinges apart and put it back a little bit, and then that's got to be a two-person job. But she's very close. So let me get you guys off of here. Be around. So the original hinges were in these two pockets, this area here and down here. So I cut them out. Then I was able to do the same on the opposite side, then change them on the doors. So then you cut it all apart, put this on this back side with the hinges. I never mess with the hinges or anything. Before I took the metal away from the outer and the inner, I put 1/4-inch plate all the way in the back of the inner structure. So then when I cut away for the pockets to accept these hinges in the rear, it didn't change anything with the pillar or the shape of the body, anything like that. So me and the owner were talking, and we know we want to do a full fender, and it's going to go into the door. We might split the fender in two so that the fender, half of the fender opens up with the existing door, and then, but me and him were talking, and he really wants to try to make it a full fender by itself without it half the fender at the door line opening up. So that means I got to cut away so much, which you could see the line where I want to go from the top of that fender and follow that line and come down. So I got to cut away so much of that door in order for my fender to work and the door to still open. So when the door opens, which there'll be more than just that way to open it, we're going to do electronic poppers, so you could just do it on a key fob. And also I'm going to do a fail-safe where at the bottom you just put your foot on a lever and it'll open it as well. So if I cut too much structure out of the inside of this door when I'm doing my fender, we might not be able to have windows because the window still has to come down so much, and it might interfere with what I'm doing. He might be able to crack them so far. I might be able to have Glass Guy Chicago cut so much away from one side so it'll go up. You won't be able to tell that any glass was cut away. We'll have to figure that out. So then after I got done taking the hinges, I did one at a time. So I cut out one hinge and I braced it and then put the metal that was there back. Then I went down there, did the same thing. Did that on both sides. Because you got to do it on both sides because you need both hinges for, you know. So here's the other side. Same thing pretty much. Got done all in there. And you can see down here where I'm doing a plate steel to match up to the lower hinge. Here I still have exposed because we're going to see what we're going to do here. I'm going to either cap this and make that look nice, presentable once you open the door. But it's pretty much the same thing on this side. I even had to go in halfway through the frame, but I boxed it. So you got to make sure you box everything, and this is very high strength steel, so that's not going to go nowhere. So other than that, let's see. Yeah, I'm noticing a little bit too much Bondo here, so I'm gonna take all this off and see what's going on in here, because I don't know. But when he brought the car to me, the first thing I noticed was that behind the seats you have your air valves, so you got to reach back to take the air out or put air in the vehicle. Then if you want like a CD or something to put in, you got to reach back there and do the same. So he had like a reverse console back here, which is just unpractical, because if you want to do anything on the fly, you got to reach back there, and if you're driving, can't do it. Same thing with this. This is for the trunk. This is actually a latch, you know, so it pulls it and then it opens that trunk. But you got to come in the back here, open up the door just to get in the trunk. So that's a little weird too. I don't like that, so we're gonna change that. And then the seats that they had in here, they had these little pucks here resting, so the seat was level, right? Same thing here. And they thought, well, we can't drill a hole through there, so we're just gonna drill one here, put it through, and say screw the back, and we'll just put it down over there. So it'll be pretty much 2 bolts in the middle holding you, and then these are just spacers to make it look like it's bolted down. So that was hokey as hell. And then this whole track here, it goes up, it goes back, but there's nothing for the passenger. You got nothing on the passenger. It's just the driver that's got any controls. And if you want to have a rear seat, you got to have a 2 seats in the front that will allow it to go forward so people can get in the back. And those 2 seats do not allow that. So we had to take them out. And it just didn't match the car either. Other than that, they had leather strapped around this whole thing. They had leather on the metal part of the brake shoe. They went crazy with the leather, and I'm just taking all that apart. I'm going to hide all them wires and everything. I'm going to make the steering column look real nice and how it should look, instead of, you know, just clothed up and, I don't know, just not a look that I like. So then we're going to take the CD player and we're going to put it in here. Now this is heat, AC, and then there's your off and low and everything, and this is your on switch. We'll move this stuff somewhere else, probably into the glove box, because because this doesn't even have anything. I'll move all this back. We're taking out the windshield wiper mechanism, so there'll be more room to stuff all this ventilation stuff back. Then I'll make a nice custom box in here and fabric it, make it look nice. And that'll be that. And I want to get rid of this because this just doesn't look, you know, that's like that billet. You don't want billet in an old school custom. Just something I try to stay away from. Some things billet look good, like I think this is billet, and that looks more chrome than anything, so I don't mind that. That looks nice. I got one of those low cars floor mount go speed pedals, gas pedals in my 53 Buick, and I did the same thing with shark bait. So he could run bigger tires in the rear, but only about an inch wider, unless he wants to do an offset. Get more traction out of this 305. I got a buddy that has a couple 305s that are, you know, punched out 30 over, one's punched out 10 over, with a high rise, things like that. It all fit underneath that hood, and it would sound better, and it would give it a little more performance, because this thing kind of, you know, just doesn't have what she needs to keep up with traffic nowadays, I would say. So I'm gonna finish weld that, grind that down, get all that done. Then we'll tackle this area. A lot of Bondo build up here. I'm gonna get rid of all this. I'm gonna pretty much bring her probably all the way down to bare metal. So we'll see how all that goes. So a couple updates on the 50 Chevy truck here. So we got the, I don't know if I showed you, but we got the firewall, the smooth firewall in place. I'm doing all the body work around the tunnel and everything like that. I got the 2 floor mounts, the cab mounts to the, you know, the cab to the frame. So I got the 2 installed. We had to locate the ones in the rear. We got those. I gotta refinish those, and then I'll put those in, which those are right here. I'll put new rubber in both of those, clean those all up, make those look brand new. Then we got the headlight buckets. He started bringing me all the little stuff to start, you know, going at it. Another thing that we ran into was there was no way to mount the radiator, which I've been there before many times. The one thing that I like to do is get the inner fenders in place. If I gotta cut those, I cut those first. I pretty much mock up the radiator support where I want it, where I think it needs to be. Cut the inner fenders, get those in place. Take my outer fenders, put those on, make sure those are in place. Then put the hood on, make sure that's in place along with the hinges, things like that. Then that'll tell me where the radiator needs to be, because if the fenders sag a little bit, that means that my radiator's too low, because this is where the inner fenders will bolt to along with the outers, I believe. I have to still get into that more. I gotta check that out, but that's what I'm thinking. And you could make the front end sag a little bit and then make that wonky, so we'll mess with that. We got to make sure that that's able to either be heightened and lowered whenever with a couple bolts, or just wait and see where it lays and then go from there. So I then got the steering column in. I got some bolts in it, but I'm going to change out to better bolts and, of course, you know, good quality. This door is pretty much perfectly aligned. It's got a little here and a little there that I want to adjust, but that's pretty much good to go. I had to make a bracket system for the brake pedal to extend this down and bring it where the customer's foot meets it. So I did an angle bracket from the original, and then I'm gonna even do a gusset bar here as well, just to give it some more strength. And then I'll take this out, I'll grind it, I'll paint it, I'll make this all look nice. So when you look at it, you know, it's a nice piece. So then we have the low car gas pedal that we're gonna be installing. That's coming. And then of course I wanted to get the column put in place to see where the steering wheel sits, to make sure that we're in the ballpark. When you sit in the car, you're not too cramped, or it's not too far away from the dash or from the driver. So I had to wait for parts. The owner found the parts, so I got those, all the little column parts and things. We were missing the adapter for this part, so we got that. We're good to go. That's where I got hung up on the column and everything. So other than that, I've been pretty much tackling all the body work on her. Slowly I just keep sanding, doing rounds of sanding until I start seeing highs and lows. And then you slowly pound out your highs and lows while you're doing it. And it really helps me when I'm doing my body work, so you could see each and every little flaw and be able to address everything. So this is pretty much just the first round, and then you see your highs, your lows, pound your highs, your lows in, sand it more, get it all the way down there. Then you do your good coat. Then you sand that down to where it's even and flat. Then you prime once you work up in grits. So you can see here on this door, when I close this, it's about a 1/4 inch down, and it's pinching, barely pinching on the bottom. So that tells us, of course, that this side, so pretty much the door needs to come up back here, up. That hinge it'll bring that in a little bit, and then it'll bring that out. So I'm going to mess with that a little bit more, but that's pretty much in the ballpark. Then same thing with this door, but this door is worse, and I think it's because of the aftermarket hinges. It's not the door, and it's not the body. It's just the hinges. So the more I work with these hinges and the more I give it room, the more aligned I'm getting it. But this one's the worst door out of both of them. So I still got a little bit more work to do with this. I got the floor pretty much all done, like you've seen before. And I got this shifter. Let's see if I can move this box. You can see the shifter hole there. I'm going to widen that a little bit more once I get my shifter in place, but I want to get my back to cab mounts in place, done and installed, so I know exactly where the body's going to rest on the frame, so then I could adjust accordingly to where my shifter needs to sit and where my floor needs to be. Then I could do my shifter boot and things like that. Worst case scenario, I cut that floor apart more, and then we just put a plate and I weld in a new plate. That's like, but we'll get into that. We'll see what happens there. But he brought me all the door inners. He brought me all the glass. We got pretty much everything that we need to put all the doors together, the body finally on, and all the hard parts. He brought the seat, which doesn't look too bad in here. There's not a lot of adjustment backward unless we pull the seat forward more. And if we pull the seat more forward, it'll start touching and rubbing on this door frame, the inner door frame. And we don't want that because we still got to do our upholstery work. And as you can see right now, we got like perfect, perfect amount. We're looking at almost a 2-finger spacing from the seat to the door, and our fabric is only going to be not even a finger wide, so everything's going to like be a nice perfect fit and finish here. Got all the linkage hooked up, so that's ready to steer once I get that steering wheel mounted. So I've just been going at it. I got a couple parts here. This is a part for the rear. We'll get into that once we're there. I took my snowmobile out a couple days ago, and I wanted to get that freshened up and ready for the snow. So first thing I want to do, get it out and go through it, check the fluids, everything like that. And here she sits. So I think we'll do a video of showing her off a little. This is a 79 Yamaha XL, and she's seen better days. She's been back. She was on the trails probably back in '82. That was the last time she's seen any snow. But last year I had it out for a couple hours here and there, but then she started acting up and giving me. I've been going through it with it and fixing stuff. Still have some things to fix. It seems to be running a lot better. I did some chain adjustment and a lot of stuff on it. I'm going to do a different video on that. Probably a series just about snowmobiles, because I got 3 snowmobiles now, and I've been collecting for the past 3 years. Seems like every year I'm buying 1 snowmobile. So everybody, stay tuned. Like I said, there's a do here. I just know that me doing long videos of grinding and welding and cutting and fitting and remeasuring and measuring and measuring and measuring and then welding and cutting, and it takes a long time. And when I'm in the flow, it's better for me just to knock it out and then show you guys an update video. But I'm sure in the future we'll do a couple small videos of doing a couple cool things. If you guys want, feel free to shout out what you guys might want to see or learn on the channel. I'll gladly be able to do a video sooner or later whenever the chance arises. So again, you guys, thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for the next video. I think we're going to do a couple snowmobile revivals, and I'm going to concentrate on the Zephyr and the 50 Chevy. Try to get those further. Do a couple small videos of that. And we'll go from there, you guys. So, good seeing you guys. Everybody, thanks for tuning in, liking and subscribing. Means a lot. Appreciate it. This is Von Wayno again, signing out from Dead Slate Customs. Later.